Had lunch, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So 12 students came. I don't know where are remaining 10 students. So
They're coming, sir.
coming still they are at home, right? They have to join at exactly 2 o'clock. So we can start actually. You can see the screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, did you solve this problem yesterday I gave? I have sent a tutorial also. If you can see your portal, student portal, 3 questions are there. So you have tried this problem yesterday.
Yes, sir.
How much? How much you got? Any values?
Sir, I got approximately 16 like that amperes.
Okay. So anyone else? 16. This if you consider this as I1, I2, I3. How much each value you got?
Sir, I got 16.
I1 is
I1.
6. I1 is
I got
16 ampere or
I.
milliampere?
Sir,
I2,
amperes only.
I2,
I2 40 by 9 I got.
49.
40 by 9.
40 by 9 amperes. I3,
35 by 3.
yeah. What about others? Right?
Sir, I got some different values. First,
Is it not same?
no, sir.
Okay. Okay, let me see.
Sir, I1 I got 4.5.
Yeah, you are right. 4.5. I2 2.3. Sorry, around. I2 is yes.
I2 I got minus 2.2 and I3
192.
2.27.
Yeah. So actual answers is like I1 you said how much?
4.5.
Yeah, 4.5 amperes. I2 use 2.2 minus 2.2
Yes, sir.
Sir.
and I3 is if you add these two you will get I3. I1 plus I2.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is correct. Okay, so if who is roll number 24? You know, roll number 24.
Sir, it's Sai Pavan, sir.
His name is something different. Sai, he didn't wrote correctly.
Sai Pavan, sir.
Sir, Sai Pavan only.
He wrote his name as Sai Pacan, Pacan. Okay, so that is fine. So all of you, more or less, you should get these values I1, I2, I3. Try. Yes,
Sir, Vishwajit Singh is waiting in the lobby. He's waiting in the lobby.
I didn't find him. Ask him to join again.
Okay, sir.
Okay, 17 students. So today is a good strength. I didn't find Vishwajit. No, he's not here.
Sir, he's saying that you removed him from the you removed him before.
I don't know what name he kept then. I removed only one person. Some different name was there. It's not in the format. It's like roll number and
Okay,
like,
sir. Let me ask him.
so it is up to him. Okay, so after this problem, we have another problem like this one. Here we have two sources. One is 10 volt and another is a current source that is 2 ampere. Okay, 2 ampere and 10 volt source. So how do we solve this? We have discussed yesterday that this 2 ampere direction is upwards.
Sir, can you please discuss yesterday's previous question? Like first question yesterday, whatever we discussed
Okay,
in the class.
first one is actually slightly different. So here we can see, one second, where is annotations? Yeah. So here we have like I1, I2, and this is, we said it as I. Okay. So the voltage VAB is between this point and this point. Okay, there is no resistor here. So actually there are no two loops, but a single loop. You can see VAB. So that indicates that I1 is 0 and I is equal to I2. Okay. So what will be the value? It is like 2 kilo ohms and we have 4 kilo ohms and 24 volts. So total it is like 6 kilo ohms. All are in series. It's just how you draw and how you see the figure. So 6 kilo ohms with 24 volts. Okay, so you will get a current of how much? 4
For
milliampere. Okay, now these two are in series. That means 4 kilo ohms. So 4 kilo ohms into 4 kilo ohms. Okay, this is 4 kilo ohms into 4 milliampere. So that will be 16 volts. Okay, 16 volts will be VAB, and the remaining 8 volts will be dropped across the 2 kilo ohms. So 8 plus 6, 16 plus 8 is 24 volts. Okay, is this clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so in this particular problem, we have like 2 amperes current. Okay, so now you can calculate how much current in the circuit. In the circuit, we have 2 ampere. Let's say this is the direction of current. So 2 ampere current flowing through 2 ohms. So V2 will be like how much? 4 volts. Okay, and then you can write a KVL for this equation. Let's say this is plus, minus, plus, minus. This is already plus. This is minus. So it will be like minus 10 if you go from this direction. Okay, so okay, not minus 10. This time it is yeah plus 10. So it will be like 4 volts plus 10 volts and minus V1 because this is in this particular direction. Negative sign is encountered first, so we keep a negative sign for this value. So you will have this is 0. So V is basically 14 volt. Okay, so that means that this is 14 volts. It is actually giving power to the source also, the 10 volt source. So this is another small example for a KVL. a simple example. When we have multiple sources, here it is a current source. So whenever there is a current source, we always have a constant current in the circuit. Okay. Then this one I have given you in a tutorial. It's a Wheatstone bridge circuit. Again, you will have a 4.5 volt, and you can split the current I1 and I2. And there is a galvanometer which is around like 500 ohms, and there is a current through it. So you have to solve it and find I1, I2, and Ij. This you try at whenever you are free. Okay. Then we will discuss this problem later. Today we discuss about Thevenin theorem. It is a theorem. Basically, you can see the figure one, this one. Okay. So there are large number of DC sources and linear resistances. So when you have large number of DC sources and linear resistance, it is better to solve them to a simplified circuit. So when we try to solve them into a simplified circuit, we expect only a single voltage source and a single resistance. If we convert like this, the corresponding or the equivalent circuit is called the Thevenin circuit, and the voltage source is called Thevenin voltage. The equivalent resistance is called Thevenin resistance. Okay, so this is a simplified circuit which we obtain using the Thevenin theorem. So what does Thevenin theorem states? It states that any linear circuit containing several voltages and resistance can be replaced by just one single voltage in series with single resistance connected across the load. Okay, so we have a voltage source and a resistor, both are in series with the load resistance. Okay, so how to calculate VTH and RTH, that we will see now. Okay, this is fine. Okay, so to obtain Thevenin voltage, we have to open this load, remove the load, and then you try to find out the voltage across AB. So this is called VOC. So that will be the Thevenin voltage. We will see the example, then it will be more clear. And Thevenin resistance is as the resistance that an ohmmeter measures across the load terminals. So you have to see the equivalent resistance from the direction of load resistance. Okay. Then once you have obtained RTH, you can actually calculate the current through the load, which is the Thevenin voltage plus, because these two are in series. Okay, RTH plus RL. Okay, so now we will see one example, then it will be clear. Okay, so here, can you see this? Okay, so here we have a voltage source of 72 volt, 72 volts. R1 is 6 kilo ohm, R2 is 3 kilo ohms, R3 is 4 kilo ohms, and RL we have not given any value. Let's say it is only RL. So how to obtain Thevenin voltage? First part is to remove this load resistance. Okay, so the circuit remains same, and only thing is we have no load resistor here. Now you can see from this direction. Okay, so what will be the voltage across AB? So that will be the across R2. Okay, the voltage across VAB will be the voltage across R2. Is this point clear? Why it is so? The voltage, because current will flow only in this direction now. There is no current flow through R3, and we are taking the voltage across only R2. So that's why VAB is V of R2. Okay, is this point clear? We have removed the load. We have removed the load resistance. There is no current flow in the R3 resistor. As current flows through this circuit, since it is like a voltage divider circuit, and we are measuring voltage across R2, that is why VAB is V of RT. Okay, so now how to calculate that? You have 72 volts. Okay, so now you have 72. volts, you will find the current. Okay, you will find the current 72 volts, and the corresponding, these two are in series. Here you cannot say these are in parallel because this is like open circuit and current is flowing in this direction. Okay, so these two are in series. So what is the value of total equivalent resistance is 6 plus 3, 9. So we get 8 milliampere in this particular loop. Okay, now the voltage across R2 will be 8 into 3 kilo ohms, that is 24 volts. So this is how we obtain the Thevenin voltage. Thevenin voltage is the voltage across the load with the load removed. What is the voltage across this point? Is this point clear? We are basically getting 24 volts as the Thevenin voltage. Now the remaining part is how to calculate the resistance, the Thevenin resistance. Again, what you will do for Thevenin resistance, you will basically remove the voltage source, you short it. Short means you just connect the wire. There is no voltage source here, and you will find the resistance from this direction. So now 6 and 3 kilo ohms are in parallel. Okay, so this is we have 6 kilo ohms and 3 kilo ohms are in parallel, and then they are in series with 4 kilo ohms. So when you solve it, you will get 6 kilo ohms. So that will be my Thevenin resistance. Okay, so we have calculated Thevenin voltage and Thevenin resistance. Okay, and then finally you will replace it to a simplified circuit. This is my VTH and this is my RTH, and we have a load resistance. So the complicated circuit can be reduced to a simplified circuit using Thevenin theorem. So what are the basic steps? The first step is remove the load resistance. Okay, then you find what is the voltage across uh, the load removed, with the load removed, and then you calculate RTH. So only it's like 3 steps. Okay, so I will give you one problem, and if you can try it, then it will be good. Okay, so this is the problem. So it is a very similar problem just now we did. Okay, we have a 9 volt, and then we have 3 ohms, 6 ohms, 2 ohms, and 4 ohms. We have to find what is the output voltage. Okay, so I want you people to try it. So consider this as the load. 4 ohm is the load. Okay, so you want to actually calculate what is the value of V naught across the load. So start removing the 4 ohms and then calculate in the same way. You people will try now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, try. Take like 10 minutes. Try. So remove the 4 ohms, then find the voltage across 6 ohms. Okay, so try it, all of you. I will ask each one of you. So the first step is remove RL, the load resistance. Here 4 ohms is my RL. Okay, then you find the current in this loop because there is no current in the 2 ohms. So what is the current value?
One, sir.
Yeah, 1 ampere. Then what is the voltage across 6 ohms? The voltage will be 1 into 6. So that is around
6.
6 volts. Yeah, 6 volts. Now find out, you short this part, 9 volt instead of 9 volt, you short the 9 volt and then you find RTH. So this is my VTH, already you got it. All of you got 6 volts?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
If you got 6 volts, now it's time to find RTH. So remove this load, anyhow you have removed. Short this part, 9 volts. So you will have like a circuit, 3 ohms, 2 ohms, 6 ohms. Okay, 3, 6, and 2. So these two are in parallel in series with 2 ohms. So what is the value? 3 parallel 6 plus 2.
4, sir.
Everyone, is it 4?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. 4 only.
So now you draw the circuit. So you have a source of 6 volt and a resistance of 4 ohms in series with another 4 ohms as the load. Okay, so you will have a battery, a resistance, another resistance. So this is, we got 6 volts and this was 4 ohms and we have another 4 ohms and my V0 is across this. Now tell me, what is the value of V0? Is this
Sir,
clear now?
is it 2, sir?
Why you are asked to tell the answer, whether it is 2 or 4? I have not calculated. It's like both are in series. So what is the current first? 6 by 8?
3 by 4.
6 by 8. Yeah, 0.75 is the current.
0.75 ampere, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then the V0 is 0.75 into 4. How much it will be? It's
3, sir.
yeah, 3 volts. Of course,
E.
6. Of course, you should even see the circuit and tell it, because there are equal resistance, so voltage will be equally divided. 6 volts means here it will be 3 volts, here it will be 3 volts. Okay. Okay, good. So all of you got this right. It is not very difficult, but the steps should be performed carefully. Okay, so I will give some tutorials later on this Thevenin theorem. Tomorrow we have lab and we will try this circuit actually. Tomorrow we try to perform this circuit in simulation. So I will suggest all of you to attend the lab sessions also. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, can you please explain the theorem once again?
Okay. Theorem. So according to the theorem, if there are many sources, like now I have only one source, but if we can have multiple sources, different batteries of different voltage, and there may be different resistance, and we need to solve it. The only way to solve it, as per Thevenin, is that you replace all the resistance with one particular resistance, that is called the Thevenin resistance, and with one voltage source, that will be the Thevenin voltage source. How to get this Thevenin voltage source and Thevenin resistance is basically VTH is defined as a voltage across the load terminal. So you will remove this load and you will see what is the voltage across this point. That will be my VTH. So I have to remove here. I remove this load and I will see what is the voltage across these 2 points. You measure it with a multimeter. So whatever value you will get, that will be your VTH. And if you measure resistance across these 2 points, that will be my RTH. Okay. So remove the load and see what is the voltage across these 2 points and the resistance at these 2 points. That will be my Thevenin voltage and Thevenin resistance. And how to solve that, you have to follow the normal tricks. Like in this circuit again, example is very useful. So what we did is we removed this totally RL. So here you see I have removed RL. Now I want to see what is my voltage across these 2 points. How you will find the voltage across these 2 points? Simply you will find across R2. If it is like 3 stage, 4 stage, so you have to solve all the stages and then you see what is the voltage across this R2. So here we see that the voltage across VR2 is basically the voltage across RL, and that is what we assign as VTH. Okay, so whatever the voltage across AB, if you find, that will be the Thevenin voltage. Now also from the same circuit I have to find the equivalent resistance. Only thing, I remove this this particular voltage source, and you find from the direction of load. Okay, so this particular, where is the second one? I have not done, or what? Yeah, here we have done shorted, and we see RTH. So for calculating RTH, we can see these two are in parallel, and this was in series with the whole circuit. So that will be my RTH. Okay, so is this clear? Only thing is, you have to know what is the equivalent voltage and what is the equivalent resistance across the points AB with load removed, and then you replace them with the single voltage source and single resistance in series with the load. So that forms my Thevenin theorem. Okay, so if you try more problems, it will be more clear. Okay, so if it is not clear, we will again discuss. So we will move to the next topic. Okay, we have done this. Okay, so capacitors are another circuit elements which we use in making circuits. Okay, we know that capacitors basically store energy in the form of electric field. So here we have like 4 different parts. This is first one where I have a switch, a voltage source, and a capacitor. So basically when it is open, there is no current flowing in the circuit. So there is no current in the circuit. Okay, so the capacitor is basically made of 2 metal plates and some dielectric at the center. So that is basically a capacitor. There may be a different type of capacitors, like it may be a spherical, a hollow spherical capacitors. So there are many type of capacitors, and we used to calculate what is the voltage, and then we find the capacitance values. Okay, so in the first case, we have kept the switch open, and we see that there is capacitor is not charged. It is having no charge. In the second case, we basically connect the switch, and then there is a flow of electrons from the negative plate. Okay, so once the electrons reach this plate, negative plate of capacitor, they will actually accumulate on this particular plate. Similarly, the positive plate, they will attract electrons from the positive plate, and that's how we form the current in a capacitor. There is no direct flow of charge, but it is like charge are collected at the negative plate, and there are charges which are induced at the positive plate, thus forming a current. So it will continue until the voltage across the battery and the voltage across the capacitors, they reach a saturation, or you can say they are equal. So when you have a third case, when there is the voltage source is V and the battery, sorry, this capacitor is also V, so they are like at the same potentials. So both capacitor and battery are at same potential, there is no potential difference, then there is again no current flow. Okay, and even then if you remove the switch, the capacitor will retain its charges and the potential across will be V only. Okay, so this is the normal principle of a capacitor. Only thing, once it charges to potential V, there is no current flow, and the capacitor will retain its charge. Okay, so here we say, let's say the charges are Q. The charge on a metal plate is Q. So if it is clear, the question is what is the difference between a capacitor and battery? So in batteries, we have chemical reactions. That's why we have the charges in the battery. Whereas in capacitors, the charges are built up by the external source. So for the capacitor, you always need a external source, whereas battery itself is a source. Okay, and we also know that the charge on the plates is basically proportional to the potential across the plates. So we say Q is proportional to V, and this is given by Q equal to CV, where C is defined as capacitance and the units is farad. Okay, so 1 farad means it's like having 1 coulomb of charge on the plates, and the potential difference across the plates will be 1 volt. Okay, so this is we have already studied in earlier classes. Okay, and there is some derivation. We know that the potential is given by dW by dq. So you basically exchange uh, because we have Q is equal to CV. Okay. Um, so you basically keep this V equal to Q by C. So you substitute here Q by C into dq and dW. So you integrate this, you will have Q square by 2C and half CV square. So this is the energy that is stored in a capacitor. Okay. Is this clear? I think all of you I know already. So I can go ahead. So what are the different applications? One of the application is it stores energy. So nowadays we have like supercapacitors also. So they are almost similar to capacitors, but they store more charges, more energy also. So they are used in cars, vehicles. So supercapacitors are nowadays people are doing research on supercapacitors. So why we need high energy? Because they can deliver energy quickly. A battery can release energy slowly, but for a supercapacitors, their energy delivery in a higher amount will be very high. So that's why we prefer nowadays supercapacitors. So that is one application, that it stores energy and can act as an energy source in absence of a battery. Another interesting property is it allows AC but blocks DC. So anyone can tell why it allows AC and why it is not allowing DC or the block DC? Everyone knows that a capacitor allows AC, alternating current, and it blocks direct current. What could be the reason?
Like DC current means DC current, it comes from batteries, and batteries have less energy.
No, just now we have seen that a battery will sooner or later will charge the capacitor, and they both will reach the same potential. So it is in a very fraction of a second that the capacitors get charged and there is no current. That's why we say that a DC current is blocked. We have seen right now that the current is not flowing in a capacitor when there is connected with a battery. That's a battery, right? It's not an alternating source. So whereas in alternating current, what will happen? There is always change in voltages. So it will go higher and low. So battery gets capacitor gets a time to discharge and charge again. So that is how the capacitor keeps on allowing the AC and blocks the DC. So that's a simple thing. That's the function of capacitor. Okay. Then these particular things are useful in coupling signals from one stage to other while DC is blocked. In amplifiers, we use capacitors to couple the AC signal. So there is an input AC signal which is amplified by the DC power. So suppose there is a AC signal, okay, and there is capacitors at the some stages, and we have DC power also. So this AC signal and DC signal, they are like coupled, and they are the overall AC will be amplified in the output, but the DC power cannot go outside. So this particular principle is used in amplifiers. So when we discuss amplifiers, we will discuss this concept again. So that is one of the application how a capacitor allows and blocks DC. Okay, filters again the same things. It will like smooth the output voltages. And okay, so if we have like R resistance and capacitance, if we both use them, we will basically create timers. Okay, because the capacitor is taking some time to charge and some time to discharge. We can control the timing of charging and timing of discharging, and thereby we created timers. So that is one more application of a capacitance. And we also know that the capacitor basically allows AC, but not only it allows AC, but also it responds to frequency. If there is a higher frequency of AC, it will totally allow the AC. If there is a lower frequency of AC, it will try to resist the AC signal. Okay, so it's like DC and AC. So low frequency you can consider closer to the DC, and higher frequency you can consider towards the AC. Anyhow, we will see this point. Anyhow, so coming to capacitance in series and parallel, you have for series you get this expression CS is equal to C1 C2. Suppose there are two capacitors C1 and C2, and if you try to find what is the equivalent capacitance, that will be given by C1 C2 by C1 plus C2. It is opposite to the values that we have in resistors. And similarly, when capacitors are in parallel, okay, so the equivalent capacitance value will be C1 plus C2. So can you derive these things, how they are derived? We have this formula already, right? Q is equal to CV. What is the formula we have? Q is proportional
Equal to CV. Yeah.
Q is equal to CV. Okay, so now if it are so what is the V? V is equal to Q by C. Okay, if they are in series, like these two are in series. So let's say the voltage across this is V1 and V2. Total voltage will be V1 plus V2. That will be like Q by C1 plus Q by C2, and you can say Q by C. CS. So this will give this particular derivations. So from this normal simple formula, we basically obtain what is the equivalent to capacitance CS and what is the parallel. Similarly, we can get for the parallel also. So you should try this one also once. Okay. Then did you come across this term capacitance reactance? You heard of this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think it's now in 12th class they are keeping. So every capacitance, it has capacitance values, but apart from capacitance, it has also some resistance to the signal. So that is denoted by reactance. We don't say resistance, we say reactance. And this directly, you can remember this formula, we can derive also. Xc equal to 1 by 2 pi Fc. So here the important term is the frequency. So when we have AC signal with high frequency, we have lower resistance. So high frequency, low resistance. Low frequency, high resistance. And if frequency is 0, that means it is DC, then the resistance is infinite. Okay, so the reactance is always inversely proportional to the frequency. So this you should remember, and the unit of this reactance is ohms. So this is the principle how we can actually select any particular frequency to filter. So we will see how to create filters when you are using capacitance. Okay, so because they are directly related to the single frequency, So different reactants, we can choose basically a different frequency that can be filtered. Okay, so but this formula is important. Okay, so we know capacitance will store energy and resistors. What is the function? They will limit the current, and if we add both of them, they will basically control how fast and how slow a charging or discharging can be done. Okay, so resistance will control the current. So I will know what is the resistance. Then I will can find out I. And if I have capacitance which will store energy, and if these are together R plus C, then capacitance will be slowly charged or fastly charged if R is high. Suppose, okay, we have written here. So consider the first point number 1. If Vc is initially 0 volt, so let's say here we have a switch. Okay, initially if we connect this switch, so Vc will be 0 volts. So that means the capacitor is initially not charged. Capacitor is not charged. Then as you connect the switch, current will flow through the capacitor and through the resistors, and the capacitor will start charging. That means charges build up at the plates. Okay, so once the charges build up, what will happen? Vc will increase. The potential across the plates will increase. More the charges are accumulated, higher will be the who is this Anil Kumar? Anil Kumar is here already? No? Okay. So as more charges are accumulated on the plates, what will happen? The potential across the capacitor will increase. So Vc will be high. More charges, more charging, Vc will keep on increasing. And once Vc increases, once Vc will increase, what will happen? VR will decrease because we have always V equal to VR plus Vc. VR plus Vc. This is constant because we have a DC source. So we have VR plus Vc. So as Vc will increase, what will happen? VR will decrease. If the VR will decrease, what does that mean? Current will also decrease, means resistance has increased. So as current decreases, capacitor will slowly charge. So this is the concept. So as initially there will be faster charging, but as VR keeps on decreasing, automatically current will also decrease, and we will have slow charging. So initially there is a faster charging, then at stage will come when the capacitor will slowly charge, and finally it will stop. So there is no more current flow when VR is equal to 0 and this Vc is equal to V. So this is stage, then there is no current. Okay. After that, if we, so this part will come, that is the third stage. Vc becomes V, VR becomes 0, and I will be 0, there is no current flow. So this is a case of charging. So when you charge a capacitor, initially capacitor will slowly charge, and there is a stage when there is no current flow. Okay. Then similarly, there is a case when we have discharging. So I remove this battery from here, and then this capacitor is allowed to discharge through the resistor. Okay. So the direction of current will be in this direction. So what will happen initially, because all the voltage across the capacitor will appear at the resistor. So VR will be Vc. So slowly what will happen? This capacitor voltage will decrease over a time because their current is keep on flowing. So the potential across these plates will decrease because the charges will be moving out. So when Vc decreases, then from this equation VR will also decrease, and there is a stage current will decrease, and finally when Vc is 0, VR becomes 0, and I will also become 0. Okay. So this part is called charging. So when you try to plot this graph between the voltage across the capacitance and time, So you can see this type of graph. So initially there is a very quick charging. You can see here a very slope is very high. So we say that charging is quick in the initial time, but slowly the charging is decreasing and then almost constant until they become similar to the V. Similarly, when it is discharging, there is a quick discharging in the initial time, but as it takes more time, discharging goes on until a stage will come when Vc equal to 0 volt. Okay, so this thing everyone should know how a capacitor is charged and a capacitor is discharged. Okay, and there is some term called RC that is given by time constant tau. Okay, so is this part clear? Charging and discharging.
Yes, sir.
And why we need actually charging and discharging? Because we want to fix the time. So this concept is used in timers. So you can charge a capacitor. So you have this term RC. So if you use a higher resistance value, so it will take longer time to charge and it will also take longer time to discharge. Okay, so this we will use mostly when you try to develop some circuits. These concepts are important. So in electronics, if your concepts are clear, you can make your own circuits. Okay, so again we discussed that the capacitor can be used as filters. What do you mean by filters? Filter means I allow some signal to pass and some signal I should not allow. So when I say low pass filters, that means I want to pass only low frequency signals across this capacitor. So here this is a circuit for a low pass filter. So you have a AC signal, a resistor and a capacitor, and I take the voltage across this capacitor as my output voltage. Okay, so what will happen initially, suppose there are a spectrum of frequencies from 0 to infinite. Okay, so if the frequency is like 0, then automatically Vc will be equal to V out. So all the DC will be coming out. So whatever you have voltage at the input, same output voltage will come. But if you have a frequency, very high frequency at the high extremes, not infinite, but very high frequencies, then what will happen? There is no voltage drop across the capacitance because all the signal will pass through the capacitors and there is no drop across the capacitance because we know that Xc is 1 by 2 pi Fc. So this Xc is very low. That means the reactance is very low. So there is no voltage drop across the capacitance and hence the V out will be very low and approximately equal to 0 volts. So we can see that only DC signals are allowed and very high frequency signals are not allowed. And in between 0 to infinite, when the frequencies are low, those signals can be taken out, but when the frequencies are very high, they will just pass out. Okay, so when frequency increases from low to high, Xc will decrease from high to low because they are inversely proportional. F increases, so Xc will decrease, and when Xc will decrease, automatically V out will be very low because reactance is low, V out will be low. Similarly, the opposite will happen if F is decreasing, Xc will increase, and the V out will be high. Okay, so then we have a output voltage. So from this particular discussion, what we understand is that only lower signals or low frequency signals are allowed to the output. Okay, so what is we are doing? The low frequency signals are only possible to come across output. So if you give a very low frequency, suppose this is a low frequency signal. So this signal you can take out from a circuit. But if you give a very high frequency signal, very high, this will pass through the capacitance and it will not appear. So what is important, why this circuit is important, that we can basically filter the low frequency signals. Okay, so this is how we use a RC circuit as a filter. And opposite to the opposite, if you want a high frequency filter, okay, so what you do is you just exchange the components. C at the initial series and R will be the here. Now what will happen? All the higher frequency, they will come out and the low frequency will pass out. So this is called high pass filter circuits. Is these two concepts clear? Low pass and high pass? Anyone who is not clear? Am I little fast? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so once again I will summarize. Anyway, this one we can summarize. What will happen? We have a voltage, we have a capacitance. This capacitance will basically block the DC and allows the high frequency. When you allow a high frequency signals, the same signals will come at the output. So we say this is high pass filters. Okay, so you try to once go through this particular topics. Still, there is some doubt. We can discuss tomorrow. Okay, I would like
Okay, sir.
I would like tomorrow in the lab. We will do simulation. We can. There is a website, and we will try to simulate Ohm's law, Kirchhoff's law, and we will also try to see whether we are able to create this type of filters. So we try to do at least 3 experiments tomorrow, and yeah, that will be fine for tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, then thanks for today. I will try to share this video link to all of you. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, then give me 1 minute. I just take the attendance. This region is still here outside. 1 second for me. Ankit. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.